Welcome everybody to the newest episode of O-Tōkushō. We're just sitting here enjoying our spring break, having some not doing anything special because we're both adults.
Yep, my spring break is the 2 days I have for my weekend, and then I go right back to work.
Yep, our college years are behind us, and we are just doing the same old. But hey, it is technically around spring break time. So we thought, what better thing to talk about than vacations? The things we'll probably never be able to afford to go on. Haha.
Yeah, or it would just be financially inadvisable to do. But we might want to do it anyway because getting a chance to escape is always a good thing.
And plus, we could probably get some content out of it too.
That as well.
Look forward to that in the future. Like future. Like. You're probably gonna forget it. We're probably gonna forget about this episode by the time we get to it, but you know. So what has been happening in the weekly chapter format? Oda has just come back from his month hiatus. Get well rested, King. And this chapter is okay.
The general kind of gloom of Toriyama's passing has more or less subsided at this point. All the people who were basically giving their, moment of silence, right, as it were, have gotten back on the wagon again.
Well, except for Black Clover's author, am I right?
Yeah, that's fair. They haven't done anything in like 4 months, and I don't know when it's coming back.
And I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say this probably wasn't just because of Toriyama that he's been on hiatus.
It was 4 months. Toriyama was not dead at that time, so no, that was definitely not him.
Yeah, but yeah, One Piece was pretty fine. It's just like we're setting up things.
Yeah, like the big reveal stuff's already happened.
Yeah, we're just putting pieces into place now here. It seems like we're gonna get some matchups soon. For instance, Saturn is approaching the Weakling trio on the ship. I guess also, who else is on the ship there? I was just looking at it too. It's Usopp, Nami, Chopper, Brook, Lilith on the ship, about to fight Saturn, it looks like. Noose Juro, the Samurai Gandhi, is going to fight Bonnie and Frankie, and Atlas, and we do not know where Sanji, Jinbei, and Zoro are.
They are still not exactly pinpointed yet. The biggest development...
it seems like Stussy is going to stay behind the lab to make sure the broadcast goes through, it looks like, and Kaku is just with her.
Okay.
Just chilling, I guess. Which is a bummer because I wanted them to take Kaku with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lucci made the request, right, for Kaku to get saved?
Yeah. And Mars kind of made it seem like he definitely was going to kill Kaku.
That's true. Yeah, they weren't going to keep them alive.
He is safe for now.
Yeah. Yes, for now. I do, that actually is my favorite development so far within the most recent chapters for One Piece, is learning that Zoro was actually just holding back.
Yeah.
During his fight against Lucci, which makes sense as to why the fight lasted so long. It's disappointing for Lucci because he's definitely not going to be important again. But at least, Zoro's moved up in like another kind of symbolic way, where he's in the same position that Luffy was at that moment, right? Where now he's able to just handle Lucci on his own, right? Lucci used to be like, final boss material, but now he's just Zoro can hold back and still kick his ass material.
Yeah. Also, the last few panels, we see Mars approaching what we believe to be Vegapunk's, connecting satellite to, the outside world. And it's in a dark room, and there is some gurgling going on, and he seems to be troubled by something that he sees. So, we don't know what that entails.
What quite that is, yeah. But whatever it is, if it's troubling one of the, elders, it's definitely going to be really important.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know how I feel about the lack of impending doom in the current situation we have, though, because we have most of the elders right here, and nobody feels like they're gonna die. I don't foresee any character dying during this scuffle, and that feels wrong. These are some of the most dangerous and bloodthirsty people on the planet. And I don't have, as a reader anyway, any sense of dread whatsoever for any character. Even non-important characters, I don't think are going to really die here. The only ones who will die will, for one, definitely that one Marine whose head exploded. But, like, almost nobody else here seems like they're at risk of being in danger, which is weird considering the context of the situation we're in right now. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see. If there is a death that's going to happen here, that would be impactful. I think if they finally manage to kill Kuma, that would be certainly something.
Well, I feel like they've been holding it off for too long now for them to do it at this point.
Well, I mean, like, his death at this point would have to be a sacrifice death, right? Like, oh, the Straw Hats can't leave, so with the last of Kuma's strength, he, like, sends them away with his paw powers or something, and then just gets fucking ass blasted by, like, you know, all of the elders at the same time.
Yeah, I think I'm still, as much as, like, the whole, you know, Saturn is a trickster and he's using, like, whatever techniques is kind of dead. I think it's strange how well the Gorosei are able to regenerate from everything. Because, like...
Yeah, the worm guy was decapitated a couple chapters ago. He's fine now.
It doesn't seem real, almost. Like, the worm guy got decapitated and then he just managed to be fine with that. The boar took, like, a direct hit to his head and, like, with Red Rock and didn't, like, react to it at all. It's very odd, like, the position they're in right now, but, like, how much play they're getting still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the worm guy didn't say anything or have any reaction to being hit by a tower thrown by Luffy in his Nika form, which should be, you know, comparable to a technique or an attack that would seriously injure Kaido, right? And Red Rock in this instance was also, what, was it the first technique that Luffy did that hurt Kaido?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Because that's the first Ryo technique he actually used, right? Like, on purpose. So... And that didn't seem to cause any notable damage, which, mind you, these guys should be comparable to, or at least around Kaido's level individually, just, you know, for, like, thematic purposes. It would seem kind of disappointing, right? If the most important people in the world... Yeah,
because if they were, like, that much stronger... Then...
Yeah, but if they were that much weaker, also, right, it kind of defeats the point of them being endgame enemies.
I think if they were so much stronger than Kaido was, I think why are they emperors at all, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, if these guys are so much stronger than, like, the strongest creature on the planet.
But if we have a character like Luffy who now is capable of fighting somebody like Kaido, not necessarily one-on-one like he did, right? Because it was certainly not a one-on-one for their fight. Like, Kaido was very tired by the time Luffy did beat him. Kaido had been, like, attacked and, you know, messed up by 3 other incredibly powerful people and all the scabbards, right? So, like, you know, if right, we don't find out that they're similar in strength to Kaido, like, I get why it wouldn't make sense if they were that strong, but also, like, the danger they pose to, you know, characters at Luffy's caliber at this point is almost non-existent. But then again, we still have the, you know, the time limit, and the fact there's also collateral, right, that Luffy might not want to deal with. Like, if it was just him fighting them, it wouldn't be a big deal, but the rest of his crew could die, which, you know, would be more impactful. But that's about it right now, right? Mostly speculation, things are kind of generally tense, right? Although I don't feel the tension myself. I don't believe anyone's really gonna actually die here. But, you know.
But the pieces are all there to do something with.
Yeah, something could definitely happen. We just haven't been pushed over the edge yet in any particular direction.
Recently in My Hero Academia, we've gotten the skinny on Shigaraki and where he's at mentally. Only for him to once again be taken over by manga's ultimate hater, One For All.
Yeah, who just refuses to stay dead.
Exactly. Much like Orochimaru, he has come back to life through the seed he planted in a pupil.
Yes, but unlike Orochimaru, this is him coming back from the seed he planted in his pupil after already having been killed, seemingly, the first time.
Yeah. So we find out that All For One is not only a hater, but also he's fucking, like, Emperor Palpatine, where he just, like, planted the seeds for, like, literally everything that's happened.
He's orchestrated Shigaraki's entire, literally his existence was orchestrated by All For One. He is responsible for Shigaraki even being born in the first place. because he needed a vessel that he could manipulate, like, literally from birth, which it certainly makes, All For One incredibly evil, like, to the point where it's almost comical now. Like, we're hitting meme levels of evil, right? But, I personally don't like the development very much, because it kind of takes whatever would have been interesting about Shigaraki's character and kind of just spits on it, because, like, oh, you never had agency of any kind. Your character basically wasn't a character. You were just a figurehead, right, for this much more important character that we only recently started getting any real direct quotes and stuff from in the first place. So all of your development up to this point has been kind of moot.
I think a lot of the villains in this series are, I don't want to say they're, like, not good, because they have, like, decent things about them, but they just sort of, they become less interesting once, like, they become irredeemable. Mm-hmm. Which is what All For One is, but seemingly, Shigaraki is gone, and now he's the only one that's left.
Yeah, now we have a non-morally ambiguous enemy to fight. We can just have the heroes pile on the person and just kill them because they're pure evil.
And pile on they do, because in chapter 419, we get two of my fucking favorite classmates, Sero and Ojiro, and I guess Sato as well. But they fucking come in and they just lay the fucking hurt on All For One, which is pretty sick. I love it.
Or at least they try, yeah.
Yeah. And Aizawa comes back. He's got Kurogiri in tow. Well, he's using his powers anyway. And we get some context and a bunch of help coming in.
We'll see how this turns out, right, from this point moving forward. It is good that we at least have that as a bastion for something potentially hopeful, though. Because another series that's gotten a good amount of updates and chapters, within the hiatus time for the other, larger series is Jujutsu Kaisen, and how it is one of the more saddening and depressing developments imaginable out of any of the possible series you could be looking at. Because just everybody's dying. Like, literally everybody's dying. So good at just eating through people. They're just eating people like crackers at this point, just snacks. The only person who's managed to make it at all throughout this has been Yuji so far. And now he's just, like, pulling up, like, I know people who like the series will defend this. I very much feel like the recent development for Yuji's existence is an ass pull. Like, oh, Yuji's actually the son of the reincarnated twin brother of Sukuna, which is why he's so strong. What? When was... How is... What? Why was this not important before? Why is this added, like, right now? You didn't need to justify Yuji being, like, genetically gifted or anything. He's just the protagonist. And we already know he's like an artificial, like, like a, basically just like a eugenics project to begin with. So, like, him having access to being able to use Black Flashes, back to back is whatever. You could just, say whatever you want to, right? It's your universe. But, like, them being this distant relation to Sukuna to make the fight potentially more symbolic or something seems so random to me. Like, my god, people have been writing on Jujutsu Kaisen for so long because the writing for it is so different, right? You don't really know what to predict. The manga seems to hate his fan base and actively kills off fan favorite characters, sometimes in, like, just really unflattering ways as well. Like, that was a part of the hype, right? You didn't know what was going to go on because the writer was a crazy person. But now we've, suddenly at the very end, we've dipped into, like, the well of contrived plot points that lesser series have gone with, and I find it to just be such a hard swerve that it's almost jarring. I'm not disappointed or anything, because, like, I can't be disappointed in what Jujutsu Kaisen does, because it clearly does not give a shit about my opinion, or anyone's, for that matter. But, regardless, this is probably one of the most contrived things they've had so far in the series. And as, like, the most recent chapter came out with that development, oh boy, I was not ready for that last-minute swerve there to happen.
Like, this whole, like, Yuji thing is kind of reading to me, like, how, like, Ichigo figured out that, like, oh, he's a Soul Reaper, and he's part Hollow, and he also has Quincy powers.
Quincy blood, yeah.
Fullbringer powers.
Yeah, he's one half human, and then, like, a quarter something else, and an eighth something else. completely unnecessary. It never makes the character better by just adding it there. But like, whatever. The series almost over, right? Like, if this happened earlier in the series, it might be a better thing by default because you'd have more time to get used to it. But also, like, they'll do what they'll do, and our enjoyment for that will kind of just roll with it as we will.
Yeah. Before we move on, two quick things about newest My Hero chapter.
Mm-hmm.
We get we see that Horikoshi's previous manga, his main character from Barrage, is canon in the My Hero universe, which is pretty cool.
Yep, but we still don't see any cameos from any of the vigilante people, though, who should still be alive at this point. Which is weird.
Fucking R.I.P. And also, we get the introduction, and I guess quick disposal of this Babadook-looking villain, Gashly Aijiju.
Yeah, who has doll... They got doll manipulation, cannot be trusted. I would not want to be in a room with that guy.
But he does look very funny, and also, like, he'd be kind of right at home in, like, almost like One Piece. I feel like he'd be like a One Piece character design, and I kind of like that.
He's definitely very strange looking.
Yeah, that's all I had to say. That's the last bit I have to say about My Hero.
We got a new Chainsaw Man chapter since the last time we had an episode. I think it's Shang-Chi or something. The archery devil, right? The incredibly powerful, like, ancient Chinese assassin one, right? Was fighting against the War Devil and everybody else, and she realized that Denji wasn't dead and was going to come back to life, and instead of going through the hassle of having to fight him after they bring him back to life in a desperate, a desperate, like, life or death situation, she just gives up. She says, all right, I'm going to just say you guys beat me, and my boss won't be as mad if I lost to you, so just kill me right now. And she just stops fighting. Very much a Chainsaw Man development for a chapter like that. I at least, if no one else was extremely worried that everyone was just going to die, because she's objectively way stronger than everybody else that was present there, but due to her being, in character, very lazy, she just gives up, even though she could have won, and it's just letting them kill her. It's very good. There's, of course, a punchline with a misogynist character whose last living lines, I think, is basically just, like, bitching about women, I think, before he gets decapitated. Yeah, exactly. Wait, hold on. His last lines are, he sighs after she gives up, and he says, look, let me say just one thing. Women are, and then it just gets impaled by a chainsaw and gets killed right there.
Women, am I right?
He just gets impaled by a chainsaw, dies immediately after being confused, and it's just Yamcha posed on a door, and then starts being eaten by somebody. Oh my god. But yeah, like, those are the biggest, I guess, releases that happened since the last episode. There's, of course, more stuff that had been released, but nothing particularly interesting as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so, is that all we have for manga chapters?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. So now, let's get into a new segment I, like to call, Shonen Movie Bullshit.
Oh boy.
In which I will read out a very unspecific summary of a shonen movie, and Jack here will try and guess what movie I'm describing. Now, this being the first one, I will make it something simple, but be careful in the future, I might throw some curveballs at you.
Alright, I'll do my best.
Alright. Let's get it going. Alright. The villain group's plan is to change the environment to suit their needs. They have their specific needs. Then they do something to make the big bad stronger before being confronted by the main cast, sans the main character. Where the main cast then dispatches the three main goons and then lose to the big bad eventually. The MC gets a new power-up as previously unseen in the series, and they defeat the main big bad guy.
I think I know what it is actually almost immediately.
Oh yeah?
But I'm gonna go down my logic here first.
Okay.
figure out what it is, because I think I got it immediately on a guess here. But when you say they need to change the environment, right, to suit their needs, are they making the environment colder?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Okay, alright. And you said that there's 3 main goons they have to fight, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is one of them the stupid one, the pretty one, and the one with freaky powers?
Well, I mean, they all are, but yes, you're right about that.
Okay. Does one of them have stretchy arms? Another one is just kind of big and fat, and the other one has weird, like, mini ones they can form?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay, alright. And is the big bad, like, oddly similar to another villain from the actual series that predates their movie?
Yes, how'd you know?
Alright, so just from what you described, the things that gave it away were the changing weather, the fact there was exactly 3 goons that were important, right? And the fact that there was a transformation hither unseen in the series that was introduced in this movie. Because if I'm guessing correctly, the movie you're talking about is Dragon Ball Lord Slug. Is this correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great.
However, I could have also been talking about One Piece Karakuri Island, which is very, very similar to this.
Oh, it is?
The only thing that is different is they don't do anything to make the big bad stronger. He remains the same all throughout.
Yeah, weird.
Because he's mechanizing the island to make it like a fortress for them, and the main cast fight the henchies. I believe there is a dude in a mech suit and like some guy with like guns or whatever. I don't remember the third one, but yeah.
Interesting.
And we see the beginning of Gear 2nd.
Oh, I didn't realize they had something similar to that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Man, I don't even remember that one. that One Piece movie. Oh boy, it's been a while. But the form that they introduced in the Lord Slug movie, at least, was the pseudo Super Saiyan form that they introduced in it.
When Goku becomes the Guardian of Christmas.
Yes, Champion Christmas. It goes Super Duper Saiyan. I'm trying to think here.
But yeah, that's shonen movie bullshit.
Oh, that's what it was. I wanted to mention that the name of the Lord Slug movie in Japan is Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Goku.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Super Saiyan Goku. And then hyphen Lord Slug. That's the name. So it really.
We don't even care about Lord Slug really in that title, huh?
No, they really. And also, Japanese movies and marketing in general do not care for spoilers. They literally just show you exactly what you want to see for the entire movie just in the trailer, and they expect the audience to show up just to see how you get there. Which I can appreciate that methodology of making a trailer and titling a movie. That would not work in America.
Absolutely not.
If Endgame was just the Avengers, Endgame's just called Marvel Avengers, they all die. It's like, wait a minute, what?
Time travel Avengers movie.
Yeah, time travel Avengers movie. Thanos wins, but we don't lose the movie. It's like, okay. The I don't feel so good meme is just the entire trailer. It's like, oh my god. But yeah, that should be the movie.
Before we move on to our main topic, I did forget about this from the My Hero Chapter 419. The official popularity poll came out, and Bakugo's at number 1.
Oh boy. Again.
There's something wrong with Japanese fans. This list is busted as hell.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about that.
So, okay, the top 5 makes sense, right? Like, the main trio, Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki. Dabi at 4, I guess, because, he had a big, send-off or whatever. Hawks at 5, again, whatever, But Endeavor at 6? I don't know if he was that good.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either.
Surprise upset, Shoji, Tentacle at number 10. I'm very proud of him. He's one of my favorites. But that is also at the risk of Tokoyami getting 22nd? Oh my god. Japanese fans have no taste.
I mean, you have a particularly high opinion of Tokoyami, though. You're very biased in that degree.
Yeah, but he just had that big fight where he beat One For All to a pulp, basically. I would figure that would be, a pretty big, motivation for people who want to do it. Because, I assume the Shoji thing is because of his performance at the hospital fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, who's to say what the justification for these things actually is? Because, like, people have their reasons. Yeah, and, like, the fandom may have liked these characters from the beginning for different reasons, right? Like, they may have had personal reasons for liking Bakugo as much as they do, besides, like, the most recent developments that they've had. I don't know what that could be, but
But also no Aoyama in the top 30, even though he had like a big character like defining moment. But Monoma is number 11.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the list personally either, but
And the fucking like bird guy from like the new My Hero movie is like in number 20. What?
the movie must have done really well. Who knows?
I guess so. I didn't watch it because I was burned too much by Heroes Rising.
Oh,
So that is all of the prelim stuff. You want to discuss our topic for this week?
yeah, of course.
This spring break motif.
So, as of right now, it is around the time for spring break for most people, right? We're no longer in school anymore, but we can appreciate that a lot of people listening to this probably are to some extent, right? Hopefully not too young, otherwise we wouldn't be the best content for people who are super young. But like anyone like late high school going into college age, right? It would make sense for them to watch our show, and they most likely still have spring break. I mean, heck, you might even be listening on this. You might be a teacher, right? You also have spring break for the same reasons. And one thing that people tend to do for spring break is go on vacation.
We didn't want to make another April Fool's episode.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that too. But for a popular thing we'd be doing, right, during this time of year for spring break would be going on vacations. Not necessarily super long ones, right? Ones where you may go to like a destination that just has like one or two things you might want to see and do there, and then you just kind of come back, right? It's either a day trip or like 1 or 2 days. Nothing crazy. You're not traveling abroad most of the time, right? And that came to, the idea for myself, right, where maybe, right, I could ask Alex, and also, I'll participate too, as to if he had a choice, right, and he had to go on like a short little, jaunt to any of the places that he's ever seen in anime or in manga, where he'd want to go. Right? Like, just imagine if you had, like maybe 2 or 3 days tops to visit a place. Where would you want to go? What would you want to do? Right? And what's like the tourist, appeal to going to this place? And of course, we're going to go under the assumption that you have like an infinite budget, right? Because otherwise, for practical reasons, both of us are pretty poor. So the answer is we can't go to any of these places or do anything.
Yeah.
But if we could, right, infinite budget, whatever resource you need to make this work, we'll make it work. It's a thought experiment. And of course, anyone who is listening to this, feel free to comment in any of our, video / podcast recordings of this to participate in the discussion of where you would want to go for something like this as well.
One question before we start. Is there a guarantee of safety on this vacation?
Yes, but not psychologically. Okay. You have a guarantee of physical safety, not psychological safety. You will be scarred for life, but only in the places that can't heal.
Fair enough. I get that. All right. Well, I guess I will get started on my list. Going down, let's start off with the easy one. Any of like the main sort of like Whole Cake Island, like Totland islands, like Chocolate Town or Whole Cake Island itself. Just like, like buildings made out of chocolate? Yes, please.
I mean, I'd imagine that honestly, Totland's like economy is probably a decent chunk of it is from tourism. Like, I'd hope. Like, I would hope. Otherwise, what are they making it for? Like, I know a lot of it comes in the form of tributes that go to Big Mom, but also, like...
I would imagine so, yeah.
They probably aren't subsisting entirely on chocolate themselves, you know what I mean? Like, they have a lot of these shops and things that seem great for tourists and people visiting that wouldn't make much sense if they didn't have that in mind, right? So the Totland thing certainly would be a good thing to do.
Second One Piece one is Water 7, just because I think Water 7 is probably like one of my favorite locations just in an anime.
Yeah, it's One Piece Venice, right? But with actual elevation and stuff.
Yeah.
There's certainly things to do and things to see there. just the sheer spectacle of the ships and stuff would be something interesting to like observe. But like on these locations though, right, that you're going to, what would you want to do? Like, what would you want to see?
Well, for Totland, it's pretty easy. It's just 24/7 Snack City. I'd go hog wild while I was there. But for Water 7, I'd probably just do the pretty basic experience that the Straw Hats went through. You know, rent out a Ryagura bowl, see the shipwrights, get some water meat. You know, it's just like a really nice vacation in like Venice or Capri or something like that, right? Like an Italian luxury vacation.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there anything you'd want to buy while you were there? Oh, that's an extra thing I should add. Anything you get or experience from this is actually something you would take with you.
I don't know. Probably like I want to know what that water meat tastes like from Water 7.
Yeah, that's true. Apparently, it's delicious, whatever the hell it is.
Whole cake, I don't think I'd want to risk taking anything like specific back, like maybe some like treats or whatever. But like I don't want to like incur the wrath, like the interdimensional wrath of like fucking katakuri or someone like that.
Yeah, you can't. That's the one thing you couldn't bring back with you was donuts. Not allowed. Okay, I mean that would certainly be a sweet trip.
Yeah, my next choice is Morio because like I think that's we've been discussing a Japan trip. With possible implications for content for the show, by the way. And I think I really want to go to a small town that's like kind of like a lot like Morio, just like walk around, like take in the experience of all that. Go to Tonio's. Oh, I would love to go to Tonio's restaurant.
Where Morio's from where?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 4.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if we were still in One Piece, but yeah,
no,
just you know, anime Italy. That would certainly be something. I mean, going on the tacking onto your One Piece thing, because I actually have a One Piece place on my list as well.
Yeah, go for it.
I figured might as well mention it, right? If we're still on the topic. I want to go onto the casino ship from Film Gold.
Oh yeah, Grand Tesoro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Grand Tesoro. That would be sick. Now, very mind true. You. We're assuming the events of the movie don't happen while we're there. Otherwise, it would be a nightmare. But actually being on that ship when it wasn't, like just rivers of molten gold and everything, that would be sick, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the ultimate cruise ship at that point. I'd get all of my things I want, right, from an experience in the One Piece universe. AKA, I get to have the One Piece meat on a bone that is not real food in real life. I want to know what that's like.
Exactly.
Right? I get to kind of be in an environment with all of these weird freaks of nature. Because the people in that world are so, like, weirdly shaped and sized all over the place. Just to, like, experience that firsthand will certainly be something incredible to, just kind of feel.
I feel like you get like transhuman dread, like in Warhammer when they see Space Marines.
Yeah, yep. For the first time, yeah, I get a whole like weird like pseudo body dysmorphia feeling from like, why aren't I 16 feet tall with really weird legs?
Yeah, what's the deal with all these freaks?
But that would be where I want to go from like a single location in One Piece would be that, and of course the gambling would be fun and all of that.
This one's just a cop out, but again, I am contractually obligated to say it every time. Anywhere from Ishizoku Reviewers, I guess the main town area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have an incredibly similar response, similar place to you actually with that.
I think anyone can intuit why I want to go there. I don't exactly make it a secret, but yes, that's another option that I have.
A similar option to that then for me would be I'd like to visit the main city that's shown in Monster Musume.
Yes, very nice.
Well, one, because there's like, hot monster women everywhere, but also there's a lot of monster-themed points of interest, right? Like there's theme parks that are themed after them and everything. There's like, restaurants and shops and stuff that have all of this stuff. Their world has like weird pseudo-fantasy elements to them, right? That we don't in our world. So I could buy like, like magic things while I'm there and explore around. But there's also a very specific agency that exists in that city that literally just pairs regular human people with monster girls to have relations with because their species are dying out. And I'd be willing to fall as a martyr for the rest of humanity if it meant saving the species of a monster race.
You can't see me right now, but I'm saluting you, Jack.
Oh, of course. Good. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the rest of mankind, Alex. And because the agency works so quickly, apparently, just from like the chapters and stuff, 3 days easily long enough for me to get married. Like,
wow.
Just that's all the amount of time it would take for me just to find somebody and be able to take them back with me. Which, mind you, not to objectify people, because I did mention before things you get during these trips you can take with you. I'm not technically getting a person, you know what I mean? But yeah, you get the idea.
The last one that I wrote down was York New City, specifically during the auction. I think, like, just being able to see all, like, the fucking weird oddities and stuff like that, like that the Hunter x Hunter world has to offer without, like, the threat of, like, mutant bugs or, like, these fucking 10, like, psycho bandits just, like, coming through and just putting a hole in my chest. Just, I think that'd be very cool. I like thrift, like, flea markets and thrift shops and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Hunter x Hunter world is incredibly dangerous, and being a non-nen user, you are basically just fodder, right? But the culture of the world and, like, the things that are just kind of around in something like the flea market that they were at York New is certainly something interesting to see and worth the trip. I consider putting it on my list as well, but I figured you would do that yourself.
Yeah. Also, you know, as a New Yorker, just to try and see if the equivalent is as good as the real thing, you know. I'm doing the Italian.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta cross-compare, right? Yeah, you gotta cross-examine, right? It's like, is this really their version of New York, right?
Did they fucking nail pizza? I gotta know.
Yeah, right. Right? Do they got the good bagels? What's their water like? Yeah. But that certainly would be a cool place to visit too. I don't have any Hunter x Hunter locations I chose myself. A funny one that I would want to go to just to see how fucked up it is would be Meteor City. But
I mean, yeah, that's like going on the fucking, like, trash island that's in, like, the ocean, but there's, like, people there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the sheer spectacle of seeing how sad someplace could be in their universe. But I didn't include that on the list here. For visiting, like, a place that just has, like, a bunch of stuff I'd like to kind of get, right? And just acquire, similar to York New, right? Would actually be, for me, going to the world of Toriko, and specifically going to the gourmet town that they have in that series.
Yes.
So the gourmet town, for anyone who isn't aware, is basically like the central hub, right, for all of their world's, you know, goods and services and stuff when it comes to food. And they have, like, you know, foods of every kind you can imagine, tools of anything that allow you to cook and things like that. So I can get, like, incredibly good, you know, cooking utensils and stuff. I like cooking myself in real life, so that would be cool for me to see. But they also have, like, a pseudo train station type thing, right, where there's, like, forms of transportation that can take you to anywhere else on their planet. And one of the places that I could visit is the Country of Life that's located there, which would basically be like the ultimate spa day, but to a point where the spa day is so good it gives you superpowers. They have like conditions they do there that give you perfect skin. You of course can extend your lifespan by being there. Your gourmet cells that your body naturally has can be enhanced by being, you know, simply in the presence of some of the masseuses that, like, perfectly, like, stabilize your blood flow and everything. It would straight up just give me, like, a glow up of all glow ups if I went to the Country of Life, and I think that would be worth the trip for sure.
Oh yeah. This is kind of off topic. Well, it's on topic. It's just more of, like, along the lines of, like, series that don't really have any good location destinations. For instance, My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I could, like, say I want to go to, like, a city there, but, like, it's just going to Japan, right?
Yeah, it's similar enough to real life.
Like, at least Morio has, like, some, like, of its own, like, location, like, individual, like, charming locations and stuff. We only really see, like, the school, and I don't want to go to, like, a school.
Yeah. Even going to their Sports Day festival, which could be fun, is ultimately not as interesting when you see it from, like, an audience perspective. Because you wouldn't get, like, the interesting things, you know?
Yeah, a lot of the series that I watch don't really have any good locations. Like, for instance, Dr. Stone, kind of just like shitty camping.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, I get to go to the village. Nice, I guess.
Undead Unluck, from what I've seen, this is just like basically what the anime is covered, plus like a few extra chapters behind that. Like, there's not really any like specific places that like really I'm like, oh man, I gotta go there. I gotta go to the fucking the base that they have.
Yeah, no, it's basically just the real world for them as well, right? With superpowers and monsters. That's the only major difference.
Naruto doesn't really have one either. Like,
there's villages that are cool, but of the villages, because they're, built for wartime, right? They generally don't have attractions of any kind.
I guess maybe like the lion turtle that like the Land of Lightning has. That might be kind of cool, but like
Yeah,
I don't know. Bleach. I don't know. I guess Soul Society would be kind of cool for like a little bit.
Yeah, but we don't really know if Soul Society has commerce. They're all dead. Like, they're all dead immortal, like, Shinigami, so what businesses do they run, right? Like, tourism is certainly not a thing they're prepared for. Yeah.
I mean, that's about it of, like, what I read and watch and stuff.
So, I think one that you might have wanted to go to as well, that I have here listed, right, which is kind of along the lines of, original, like, big battle shonen things, would actually be visiting the Dragon Ball universe. Specifically so that I could watch the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, because that's the one where Goku fights Piccolo, and he gets gigantic. That would just be really sick to see. And this is at a point in Dragon Ball where they're still perceivable by regular people, so I could, like, appreciate how cool the fights are. And of course, as an extra added bonus to being in the Dragon Ball universe, one, I could, purchase capsule technology of some kind while I'm there. Incredibly convenient, basically just having a real life bag of holding. Be awesome. But in addition to that, I'm going to take their word for this as gospel for Dragon Ball in particular. I'm hoping it's not just the real world, but apparently the Dragon Ball universe, like Earth in particular, in the Dragon Ball universe, has literally the best food in the entire multiverse. Like, to a point where it's a selling point of how good the food on Earth is, right? Like, Beerus and Whis, they're angels and gods of destruction. They've destroyed countless worlds. They've been to other universes. Champa's from a different universe, right? And they all love the food from Earth in the Dragon Ball universe. So, unless the food in the Dragon Ball universe that isn't from Earth is just really bad, right? Their food must be poppin'. I have to know what the best in the Dragon Ball universe's food tastes like. And apparently it's just anything they have. They gave Beerus cup noodles and he freaked out. Like, it could be anything. And, I mean, to be fair, cup noodles are quite nice. But, like, still, I want to know what that's like. Because apparently it's good enough for gods. And the general city area, right, where the World Martial Arts Tournament takes place in is pretty cool anyway, right? And the world of Dragon Ball is so different from our own. Just being there for a couple of days would be interesting. Just to, hang out and see things.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna do a cop-out and say, like, oh, I could get the Dragon Balls into 3 days if I, like, speak to Bulma or whatever, and she's nice enough to do it for me. But no. Just being able to see the spectacle of an actual Dragon Ball fight in real time while getting to eat food that's apparently the best thing ever would be really nice. There's another one that you actually could still qualify for, Alex, from the things you've seen. This is kind of a cop-out answer, but visiting any school festival event of some kind, right? In any anime would be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when they have a school festival with all the clubs and stuff, right? And all the booths that they make, and like there's like, you know, maid cafes that they set up and haunted houses, and like, you know, all of these series that we've seen, for the most part, if they have a high school setting, have had an episode or two based off of this exact thing, right? And they always look like a blast. I mean, the My Hero one was cool, right? They had like the concerts and stuff, and there were places, you know, who had like, you know, food and like sports things and all kinds of fun things. They'll be just neat to experience. It's also like a consolidated form of their culture at the same time, right? Because that's kind of the point of that festival for all of these, you know, anime and mangas in the first place. Because in real life they have these, right? And that's the point of them existing as well. I had 2 other ones as backups just in case, right? We didn't have other ones to talk about. But breaking into the realm of movies, I think visiting the bathhouse from Spirited Away would also be really cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, because like it's filled with ghosts and stuff, which would be cool to see. And there's like, you know, spirits all over the place, and they also have the buffet that turns people into pigs. Which, mind you, I wouldn't. We're going on the assumption we'll be safe, so I wouldn't turn into a literal pig. But the food from that one buffet scene, The Spirited Away, still has me acting up to this day.
Right.
Looks so good. My God. And being able to go there as a patron, right, with my weird gold nuggets to pay them with or whatever, would just be really nice for a couple days. And I have, like, my real far out there pull that people probably have never heard of before, from a series called Hell's Kitchen. No relation to the Gordon Ramsay show. But there was an old manga that got axed, unfortunately, called Hell's Kitchen. And it was a similar situation to like Food Wars, right? Like super culinary school, main character wants to become like a chef for their various reasons. But there's a supernatural element to Hell's Kitchen where the main character is sent to this school to become a master chef because he is being trained by the devil. Specifically, the Earl of Poor Eating is his name. Just a kind of suave, gentleman-looking guy with like a vest and black gloves and a noose for a tie. But in that series, right, there's a competition that the main culinary school has against various departments within the same school. And you have like a science division and an agricultural division outside of the chefs, right? The science division works on like food technology, right, that can make their cooking easier. And the agricultural side just provides them with all the raw ingredients. The agricultural competition is cool to look at and stuff, and like the foods they make are pretty nice, but it's ultimately not very exciting, and I'd be fine with just kind of being there for that. Because all of these, because it's like a school, right, they have a live audience there participating, like just regular Joe Schmoes that are just sitting like in this arena, right, getting free samples of the food so they can experience what they're cooking and kind of vote on it, more or less. So the science division like competition that they came to had some just crazy, just fictional bullshit, right? Like, oh, this is something that cooks itself while you're eating it in your mouth. And it's like, okay, that sounds cool. Or we have something that tastes like a familiar memory that you had, that by default, whoever eats it, it's good for them or something. And I just want to have experience that. And as an audience member, right, for this tournament, I'd see them competing and everything, but ultimately I'd get to like experience these really, you know, neat dishes and stuff. And the city surrounding it, right, has of course everything else related to the cooking and everything that we could do.
Yeah, that's what's what, bro.
But I mean, those are our choices for places we want to go to, right? Things we'd like to do, you know, points of interest to see. Of course, you know, we limited ourselves to anime and manga, right, in particular, but feel free to add other places you'd want to go to. Any discussion is good discussion, right? And there's plenty of other sources of entertainment that we have in real life that can convey really cool places to visit that are still inspired by anime and manga in the first place.
Yeah, like
for example, visiting any of the cities, right, in like any of the cities in Pokemon would be cool, right? going to like the specific, magical places for like any of the Fate games would be something, I guess.
Or any, like the futuristic magical cities in like Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, right?
Yeah, that type of stuff also. I mean, going to any of the floating cities in the Final Fantasy games by default would be cool. Visiting a campsite in Monster Hunter, which I know is like camping, but it's Monster Hunter, so just it'd be like the craziest safari expedition you'd ever go on, right? All of these things are options, and they would all be great choices for people to go and have fun with. But, I mean, even if you're not going to these places in real life, I hope anyone listening to this does enjoy their spring break, right? Take your time off. You deserve the break. And if you need the extra little bit of escapism, take the thought experiment for a spin.
Some housekeeping stuff. I am going to try and get the Discord, like a link to the Discord, like through our Spotify, maybe? Either that, or I'm going to try and like set up like the our Twitter account to be like actually official. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can get that set up, and like if anyone wants to, they're more than welcome to join our Discord, which again should be up. We should have it available to everybody at some point. Yeah, so if we manage to get that up, be sure to put what your thoughts are in our Discord, and like maybe some suggestions for other episodes. If we get enough feedback for stuff, I might even consider thinking up a audience feedback segment for the show, where we're really kind of trying to figure out what we want to do with this show. And the more interaction you guys give us, the more we'll be able to make it something that everyone will want to watch or listen to. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, I've been Alex.
I've been Jack.
And we are this is April, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
All right. See you later, guys.